We've now reached the last Blockout video in this series. This one's from one of my favourite games when I was growing up, Medieval. Let's see how it goes. More of a stylised piece, this one. So a bit different to what we've been working on, but we can still approach it in the same way. So with this one, there's no real scale to go off, so I sort of just take the human character and sort of do it a bit to that. Starting off with the hill itself, it's just a kind of smushed sphere. And then I look at using a boolean to cut the cliff away into it. It's sort of half working. I'll leave it in place for the moment. And then I start working on the crypt feature at the back of the concept. And, you know, with it being stylised, we've got some corners of it that are exaggerated. So I just put these into the Blockout too. And work on the roof. And it's all very simple stuff, planes that are bridged together. And then I move them, you know, back and forth to create the shape. I'm now adding the little spheres on the corners of the building, and the spikes that sit on it. And now I'm adding in the door to the side. It looks like a door anyway. Again, mod boolean just seems to make it a lot easier when meshes aren't at right angles. So I do that and I just tidy up the verts along the side so I have a nice arch. I now add in the spikes to the top of each of these roof corners, and again rotating them, checking the concept art, checking the camera. And then having a look at the rest of the scene. I'm now starting to work on the tree that is at the back, I suppose middle left of the image. And again, like I did with the tree in the laboratory one, I have a cylinder, have one end smaller than the other, and just keep positioning them around, copy and paste in sections. It's not going to be bang on perfect to the concept, but if we can try and get something similar and help with that silhouette, then that's what it needs to be. And it's just kind of breaking up the shape of it. Now we're making some gravestones that kind of occupy the rest of the space around the level. And as these go in, we can adjust the trees, check that they're, you know, we're still getting a decent silhouette from that and it has the right coverage. And then once we've got some of the gravestones in, we can start playing around with the ground a bit more. And then detail up some of these gravestones, put them into position. And then you'll find that everything is kind of based off everything else. You know, once you start getting one thing in and you get the next thing in, you want to try and work out, are they in the right relation to each other? And with every piece that goes in, it's looking back at that concept. Is the camera right? Are we looking at it from the right way? Does it all fit together? And last time we touched on, sometimes the concept art doesn't hold up in 3D so well, so it's making those changes, seeing how it looks, keep referring back. It doesn't have to be spot on. So here I now kind of approach the cliffside a bit more manually. So I delete the previous mod boolean area and I just use planes to block out the general shape, bending them, twisting them, and then matching the verts. This was, you know, a very much manual process, but it means I have full control over it and I can check it versus the camera as well. I think when you try and cut things like this with bigger pieces, there's less control you can have over it. And then once I'm happy with this outline shape, I then just reattach the new planes back to the hillside itself. And then I give it a little bit of an edge lip. And then once I have that, I can do a select of the line and extrude downwards to give me the cliff face. And again, just push and pull these, add in some edge loops just so I have some curvature to it, and then some copy and paste elements, sections to kind of fill out the background. And I do the same thing with this little island in the right foreground. I have a plane, I extrude it, and then extrude from that the kind of cliffy underside. Get a gravestone on that. Check that everything's looking right. I'm now using Modo's topology tool to create the path. Now, this is a great tool, so you essentially create a polygon on the surface and then you can push and pull the edges, the verts, to create a path or retopologize anything, and it sticks to the underneath. So I use that and I boolean the path out of the hill so that I can get more of an edge lip around the path, make it more distinctive. And now I'm adding in some small clumps of little rocks, like very smooth rocks that go across the surface. Now I'm not using a particle generator and a replicator for this, I'm just manually moving them around. I want to match it to the concept as best I can without going completely overboard. I'm now making the railing that goes up part way of the path. Again, what I do is I create 3 variants and then I move those variants into position. And I follow the concept for this, and then I put them all in a line, bend them, rotate them, transform them. And I've checked that they all align, checked that I've got the right number. Sometimes they don't fit, and then from once we've got our fencing, can see if the rest of the composition is still working, where you'd expect it to see things through, where you wouldn't. Just moving some stones around, checking everything looks as it should. Okay, and now for the skull that goes on the crypt. It's a plane. Get the shape right, extrude it a little bit, push it into the crypt, and then I create my eye holes, nose holes, that kind of thing, and use booleans again to get the holes right. Copy and paste this out when it's done. And then I use render curves just on the edge of the tree, so that I can have a bit more of a silhouette on the kind of the branches of it. And what's great about curves as well is we can set a thicker and thinner end to it, so we do get that fall off that you would on a tree, the very ends being very thin. Having a look at the test render, checking the light, and then very, very quickly going in, assigning all the materials. And changing the colours for each one, just trying to match it as best I can to the concept. Patching up any geometry that was missing, creating the yellow background, add a bit of fog, and that cell edge shader again helps make it pop. And that's it. The last one is complete. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, then please like, comment and subscribe. And for more game art related content, check out the other videos on my channel. See you next time.